Coming up on the Retronomicon. Look kids, it's Barbie on a horse. Oh. Sup bitch? Why do they have to have these rigid, plasticky hands?
I'm ready.
Fucking book. Oh, you think this is funny, do you? Think this is fucking funny? I'll just send it to hell like the others.
Did you really think I'd let you do that before I've had my fun?
God damn it, what gives?
I gave you those powers, and I can take them away. You're gonna have to review it, douchebag.
No fucking way. No. There's no fucking way I'm doing this. There must be some kind of spell or curse or incantation inside this thing that could save me from this shit. Guess I'm reviewing it then. Dude, just shut the fuck up, man.
Okay, fuck.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retronomicon. Today's topic, we're finishing what I started in the last episode and looking at the worst PlayStation 2 game I could get my hands on. Lovingly provided by the Retronomicon. Thanks a fucking lot. You thought those games in the last episode were bad. Let me show you the bottom of the barrel. Let me show you the brown, sticky substance that clings to it. The most foul, sorry excuse for a game you'll ever see on the PlayStation 2. Barbie Wild Horse Rescue. Barbie! Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a kids game. A game for toddlers. Little kids who don't know any better and just need a colourful distraction from eating shit out of a sandbox. But when I think of kids games, I don't really think of them as being simple or bad because they don't have to be good. I think of educational games like the ones I used to have as a kid. Read, Write and Type. Orly's Draw a Story. And yes, they're simple because they target a baby demographic, but that doesn't mean the games don't achieve what they set out to do. That is, educate. In my mind, if a game for kids isn't educational, then it's suitable for everyone, or rated E for everybody, or suitable for everybody over 3. So I think about games like Crash Bandicoot, or Sonic the Hedgehog, or literally the hundreds of 2D Mario titles, and they're bright, they're colourful, they're charming for the kids, but they can still be enjoyed by adults. So my point is that a game for kids can still be fun for adults. So let's just keep that in mind as we get into this.
I'm ready.
So before we actually play, let's look at the box art. Okay, immediately you're thinking boring as fuck, right? But look here, the sparkly horseshoe has a shadow. That's neat, and the wild horse rescue part is being cheekily lassoed from off screen, but is only interested in the horse rescue part, cutting into the D of wild. You see, it's chaos, pure fucking chaos. The rest seems fine, I suppose. Look kids, it's Barbie on a horse. Barbie on a horse. It's got Barb on a horse. And then you see this strip of colour down the side and you think, why the fuck is that there? And why does Barbie's pissing hair need to cut into an otherwise pointless border? Okay, here we go. Developed by Blitz Games. They appear to be a trusted British development team responsible for a fair few games based on popular characters. Everything from Chicken Run to SpongeBob and those horrendous Bratz dolls. Yeesh. But, well, it sounds like the Barbie company would have nothing to worry about, remaining sure that a developer with such experience would do them some level of justice. But the reality is, this shit was shot out of corporate asses so quickly, with such little regard for its quality, that it blew a hole through the bathroom floor. Here we go. Oh, good grief. Oh. Sup, bitch? Okay, so first off, these cinematics are horrifying. The graphics would have been comparable to those early release titles we looked at last time, but this game came out 2 whole years after Final Fantasy X. Okay, they clearly didn't have the same funding, but then why the fuck bother? Like this little cinematic here before the title screen. I mean, if you can't get a rabbit to not look like an emaciated freak, then why include it? It's a game about goddamn horses! Anyway, Barbie and her gal pals are retreating to a horse riding getaway. I don't need to sugarcoat it, I'm just gonna state the obvious. These bitches look like some freaky fucking mannequins, and this cinematic's making me sick to my stomach. Sick! I know they're based on dolls or whatever, but why do they have to have these rigid, plasticky hands? And why do they have to have the same horrifying proportions as the Barbie dolls? Couldn't they just be human, for the sake of it? Or for the sake of my sanity? The other thing with this dialogue is that a lot of it contradicts itself. Like, for example, they say they've been on this trip before, yet when they arrive, Barbie says,
Silver Valley Stables, this is it!
Why does she say it like that? She knows where she's going, she knows what it looks like, she says it in a way that implies it's her first time here, but maybe I'm just nitpicking. But it irks me, damn it. When they arrive, they chat with an elderly woman known as Mrs. Hepburn, who Barbie somehow knows. No, it's not her mother or a relative or anything, just some old woman that she's decided to sponge off of. She may not know the woman on a first-name basis, yet will gladly abuse her generosity regardless. Good stuff. After a quick how do you do, they go to their beds to rest after a long 5-minute drive, but before they do, Lady Faceache over here says,
You made it just before the rain.
adding,
It's the horses. They always know when a storm's brewing.
foreshadowing. I wonder what's going to happen next in this riveting tale. So a storm happens overnight, shock horror, and the gate to the horse pen blows open and the horses escape. Why wouldn't you lock the fucking thing? How do I know it wasn't locked? Because if the shitting storm was powerful enough to shatter a pissing padlock this easily, then these people would probably be dead and I'd be doing something else. Anything else. The next morning, Barbie is like, you were right. This shit's incredibly played out.
It was blowing all night.
I know, Barbie. And that's not all.
So was I. Barbie, Wild Horse Rescue. With the horses missing, Barbie and her hoes volunteer to look for them. And, well, that's it. That's the plot. So now we've got that complete drivel out of the way, let's play the game. So we start in a hub area where we have access to the house, which acts as a character creation / changing room where we can design our very own Barbie. Stables where we can modify the appearance of the horses, and another little area for you to clean your horse. Let's start by getting some fresh threads on this thicko. Okay, a loading screen. Okay. Come on! So we finally get to this very uninspired menu to design our Barbie doll. And we don't have a lot of options right now, but we can choose the basic attire, top, bottoms, and a hat. Don't need a helmet, as I doubt a kicking from a horse would change much. Dope! And now we can head back out to the hub area and move on to picking our horse. Another loading screen. Okay, let's head out to the barn and... Oh, for the love of fuck. For the love of fuck. That's right, every time you enter or leave either of these features, you have a loading screen. And not only that, but these might be the most boring loading screens I've ever seen. I mean, for fuck's sake, if the game needs to have this many loading screens, they could have at least given the player something interesting to look at. I mean, as a game tradition, loading screens are often an excuse for developers to be creative, using it as an opportunity to give you a pretty picture to look at. Even that piece of shit game Extermination had this cool and creepy animation of a heartbeat monitor when the game was loading, which was a lot. But here, the developers just stick a block of pink colour on the screen with the rudimentary loading bar across the bottom. I mean, fuck, they could have at least shown us a picture of Barbie on a horse, like they did on the menu, and title screen. Even the incredibly flat and unappealing box art would have done, would have at least shown you tried, shits games. Anyway, sorry I keep going off on these tangents, but it's hard to stay focused when there's so much wrong and we haven't even started fucking playing yet. Where was I? Oh yes. Barb's Horse. So in the barn we have to select a horse to get started. My god, look at these horse names. Half of these are incredibly ironic considering the horses are afraid of storms, and the other half appear to be stripper names, which brings the joke round full circle. These horses are horses. We only have access to one horse at the moment, Blossom, that one horse that was in solitary when the storm hit. So let's pick it. Another loading screen. Really? Once in the horse customization menu, we really start to see the game struggle. Scrolling through the different options on this screen causes a ridiculous drop in frames as it jerks around, making this whole menu an absolute chore to get through, as the constant lagging really gets in the way of you seeing all your options quickly. Oh god, I hate this. So you can throw a lick of paint on your horse and change its colour. You can customise the style of mane of your horse, as well as alter the colours. Should I be concerned about animal cruelty here?
Oh, kill me!
There, we're done. Looks great. Whatever. Still feels incredibly vain and stupid, but yeah. Okay, let's exit out. Okay, and exit out of the barn. Would you please? That's right, that's 2 loading screens to get into the menu and 2 loading screens to get back out again. How much could this game be pushing the PS2? Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Holy shit, we're on a horse. Okay, this feels fine, I guess. Feels akin to a lot of other horse riding mechanics like riding Epona from Zelda, or even Red Dead Redemption, I guess. So far, it's adequate. The daft old bitch that can't lock a gate teaches you how to get on and off your horse, but you can also hold the reins of your horse and drag him around. Oh man, look at Barb's spaghetti legs. She also moves at the speed of sloth shit, and there's no run button. After getting on your horse and wiping old lady Hepburn's wrinkled ass, you finally get to leave this square of nothing and find the entrances to the game's levels. Oh my god, we're actually going to play the game. Fuck. After all this build up, customizing and getting on my goddamn horse, I'm expecting these levels to be, well, not fun per se, but better than a fucking loading screen. Okay, Forest Trail 1. One more loading screen, of course. The longest yet. Okay, finally, we're off. My god, these graphics are shocking. Everything's pretty low in polygons and has no detail, but I guess we knew that a game with a box art like this one was not going to impress visually. But I really can't stop looking at those freakishly skinny legs. Should have mentioned as well that the sound and music continues to be mediocre, but certainly not the worst video game soundtrack I've ever heard. That's still held by Gex. It can be quite serene and peaceful. But that's probably just to keep you calm as the game throws its feces at you. So the main objective of the game is to save these foals. To do so, you need to get off your horse and then press the square button to put a rope around its neck and then lead it to a designated safe spot. A couple of hay bales and a pole. Yeah, and to be quite honest, this is all the game is. And the safe spot is never that far away from the foal, so none of these are really challenging whatsoever. I could understand, I suppose, the challenge of navigating to a safe spot if there wasn't a giant fucking arrow on the top of the screen telling you exactly where you need to go. So the game is basically baby's first crazy taxi. On a horse. There were a couple of times where you had to go different routes back to the safe spot after collecting the foal, but all it did was eat up more of your precious time, as old Barb still moves at the speed of grass growing. In the levels I played, there was no real puzzles. Is this even a fucking game? There are enemies in the form of other animals, such as skunks, that really don't cause many problems at all. You can fly straight past them, but later you have to use these collectible apples to feed the skunks to distract them while you lead a scared foal past them to a safe spot. Which is still right where the skunk is. What? I also forgot to mention earlier that once you get a foal to a safe spot, you have an unskippable cutscene every time of Barb calling someone to pick up the foal. Not only is this annoying, but it also doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, this foal is just left next to the skunk. I literally did not make it any easier for anybody to reach the foal. I just moved it a bit. It's fucking silly. If you get hit enough by these things and die, you're restarted a short distance behind where you were. And of course, you're not really dying, so why would there be lives? There is no challenge here whatsoever. Now, if you remember what I said at the start about kids games, even if this is targeted at little kids, as if there was any questioning that, there's no need for the game to be so simplistic, tedious and boring. If the game was going to be this basic, it needed to at least be educational. And in the few levels I played, I saw nothing of the kind, except
Oh, is a baby horse.
good job, game. The little girl you've bored to tears of anguish now knows what a baby horse is called. One of the only things that I do like are the time trial minigame thingies. The game really could have done with more of these. The change in pace was greatly welcomed, but lasted less than a minute. Sometimes you need to giddy up your horse with the square button to jump logs of shit and gaps in the floor. Whoa, I landed on nothing. Great job, game developers, and also duck out of the way of higher shit logs. So many logs. So many logs of shit. This game is shit. Coincidence? Wait a second. Skunks? Smelly skunks? They know. Anyway, at the end of the first level, you have to catch a horse. What? You were expecting some kind of boss? Don't be silly. You just have to stay near it on horseback for 5 seconds until Barbie can get her shit together and throw a rope. Yeah, it was that easy. Oh, and of course she has to call this one in as well. I swear to God, you spend half the fucking game watching Barbie call someone else to finish the job she started and couldn't be bothered to finish. But she'll gladly add Bluebow to her collection of horses. Okay, so here's another thing that bugs me. The additional horses mean jack fucking shit. Now, giving each horse different stats or something, like they get faster, or maybe the fucking friendship bar thing goes down slower. But no, I mean, there may be a chance each horse goes a slightly different speed than the last, but it's not told to you, and it's more than likely just an unlocking another horse slot thing. God, that sounds fucking weird. And unlocking more customization options for them. And that's it. That's really it. At the end of the second level, I had to horse race Teresa, or whatever her sodding name is, and beat her to complete the level. Nice. Teaching kids to shirk their responsibilities in favour of fun and games. Shouldn't they be getting on with the horse rescue? I mean, it's in the fucking title of the game, for fuck's sake. Okay, I think that's it. I think I've covered every last shit nugget this game has to offer. I've covered the pointless fucking foals, the glitchy, weird graphics with the terrible frame rates, the stupid enemies, and the lack of puzzles and challenges. Yep, I think that's all the points covered. Wait? Multiplayer?
Oh, fucking hell.
Can you imagine getting someone you know to play this with you? Hey.
What?
Do you want to play Barbie?
No.
So it turns out that you can play the minigames from the single player in a separate mode, where you can play them on your own or with a friend. You can select from the many 4 characters, including Barb, her 2 hoes, and Mrs. Hipbreak. And you can play 4 minigames. The first is horse racing, standard. The second is a coin collecting minigame, which you can play cooperatively or counter-operatively. The third is a head-to-head race to rescue horses, like we did at the end of the first level. And the fourth, and thankfully final minigame, is scaring birds on a beach. Great stuff. But you know what? It's the only one that's fucking playable. The other 3 games have a snail-paced frame rate which makes them an absolutely horrendous experience. I swear to God, I've not altered this capture whatsoever. I don't think I've ever seen a PS2 game struggle to run this much. I remember playing games on Windows fucking 98 that ran better than this. Look at this coin mode. With all these coins on the screen, it felt like the game was going to crash at any fucking moment. The Seagull game, however, runs fairly well. And it has its own unique map compared to the other minigames. Is that why? Is this minigame the only one they finished? Or cared about? Anyway, I can imagine this being kind of fun for a couple of toddlers or a couple of stoners, but the rest of these minigames are completely unplayable. I mean, what an embarrassment. The worst part, the rest of these could have actually been somewhat fun, I suppose, with their competitive nature and round-based setup, yet they have been butchered by a complete lack of fucks to give. Shame on you, Blitz Games. Shame on you. This game is an insult. It's an insult to the intelligence of children. It's an insult to the PS2's legacy. It's a balloon of bile spewing its putrid fucking mess everywhere over whatever poor fucker plays it, adult or child. So, with that considered, this game gets an F for fiendish filth designed by feckless fuckwits. Be gone! Thank fuck for that. Anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Retronomicon. My name is Matt. And until next time, subscribe. Shut up.
Oh.
Dickhead. Not you. Him.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay.
Son of a bitch.